Marketing, marketing, marketing. This is something that we're hearing all the time, right? On this episode, we're going to be bringing on a guest that's a 7-figure business owner in the home services space here in Las Vegas. And he's going to show us exactly what he did without spending a dollar on marketing, on how he grew his businesses, how he shakes hands, how he develops everything. I love it because on this particular episode, they're also going to be getting into the dark side of things that happen in personal lives that can affect your professional. Stay tuned for this. Awesome, Robert. It's so awesome to have you here, man. We got Robert Eisenstadt. So I want to just give people a little bit of a background on you. I know that we've met through like masterminds and different groups, you know, all three of us. But tell us a little bit about your story and kind of where you came from and what you're doing now.
Yeah. So Robert Eisenstadt, 32 years old. I really enjoy long walks on the beach. No, I'm just kidding.
That's right.
Serial entrepreneur, owned a bunch of businesses. I was born in Chicago. I moved here in 2001. My father wanted to move out here shortly after. All of our family died except for our immediate family. And so we were just kind of stuck out here. And as I started...
Wait, everyone died at once?
No, I mean, within like a really short period of time. Dude, it was actually really
messed up. It was like a car bomb or something?
Within like a few years, it felt like everybody was around me was just dying. Like it was crazy. Like my cousin died, my aunt died. And then my best friend committed suicide. Then my next closest friend died a year later on a street bike accident. It was like this insane period of time where just everybody around me was dying.
Yeah, I'd move too, bro.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's once we moved here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, once we moved here. Oh. And dude, it's crazy. Like out of all of the people that we grew up with, I'm like the only one that is still alive, which is kind of mind blowing. And so, you know, obviously dealt with a lot of issues with that. I found my best friend 2 minutes after he committed suicide. Pretty graphic, as you can imagine, from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. It was me, his mom, his sister, my ex-girlfriend. So anyways, went through that. My parents that was at 18 or 19 years old. At 20 years old, my parents got divorced. My mom moved to Florida. I was working at a Ford dealership. I turned 21, was working at a Ford dealership. And my father had suffered his third heart attack and passed away overnight. I didn't realize I was late to work. Got to work. His work called me and was like, "Hey, your dad never showed up to work at all. You know, this is
not
never
like him. Yeah,
been like him, right?" And so, long story short, I went home. He passed away of a heart attack. They didn't give me the time off that I needed to handle his estate. I mean, it was just me and him, right? So like the house, the funeral, he was upside down on the house, which looking back now, I'm like, man, I wish I would have bought that house. Because in today's value,
like opportunity missed that.
Yeah. So long story short, I got cash for keys. I got kicked out of the house. I told my work to pound sand because they wouldn't give me the time off that I needed. And I tried to go back to work. I was sitting in my office crying. And I just told myself that I never wanted to let anybody tell me what I could and couldn't do again. So I decided to open up my own business, started a carpet cleaning business, opened up a pressure washing business, opened up a handyman business. A lot of that failed. So we dialed back. I mean, my wife went through my books, found out I was losing about $20,000 a month. Didn't even know it. Shut everything down and went from $70,000 a year to 7 figures in a little less than 3 years in the commercial power washing space. And so now we have a commercial power washing company, a holiday lighting company. We just opened up an air conditioning heating company.
There you go, man.
It's a lot in a short period of time, huh?
Yeah, no doubt. I didn't have this on the docket, but I feel like we should, I kind of want to ask it, like, the scenario you just outlined there would be, it's obviously very difficult. Obviously wasn't easy. A lot of people look at that and say, holy shit, like I would just let that crush me. I guess the question I would have is like, how did you actually, you really reframed it and turned it into something positive, but what allowed you to actually absorb all that and not let it hold you back and actually use it maybe to spring you forward?
You know what, man? I wish I had like some perfect answer for you that it was like, oh yeah, this allowed me to do this. But at the end of the day, I just wholeheartedly believe that everything happens for a reason. And, you know, even recently, dude, my house just got struck by lightning. It caught on fire and flooded. And then 2 weeks later, I got in a horrible car accident. And it's like all of these within 2 weeks. And it's like all these things, but everything happens for a reason, right? Like the lightning strike caused me to be able to do an addition on my home, right? I mean, I haven't really figured out the car accident yet. That shit hurts. But, dude, I mean, everything happens for a reason. I wholeheartedly believe that. My father passing away, I would never be where I'm at if it weren't for that happening. right? Yeah. And so I think that was kind of like the realization is you're not always going to see the door that's opening for you because you're dealing with a really hard time. But at the end of the day, if you give it some time, some patience, and just have some faith, things will work out, dude. Like it's always worked out. It will always work out. You just have to have some time, patience, and some faith, man.
Man, I love that. Because like I said, there's definitely going to be a lot of people that are struggling with that. When you're looking at even like your entrepreneurial journey, right? It's a lot, very, looks glamorous to start down that pathway. And then, like you said, you get your ass kicked a few times and like, why am I doing this? You know, I think we've all mentioned the same thing. Like you basically, you work more hours to make less initially than you were at your normal job. So when we're looking at, you know, starting up something that's scalable and, you know, starting at that point, did you look at things as this is going to be a viable business? Or was it more just like, all right, let me just do something, not treat it like a side hustle, but like, all right, let me just do something to make some money versus, all right, this thing could be a 7-figure company?
Yeah, no, I never even thought about making 7 figures ever. In the beginning, it was just purely I didn't want anybody to be in control of my time. Like, that was it. Just because they told me I couldn't take the time off. I'm like, dude, I can't let somebody tell me that I have to be at work when my dad just died. Like, that was my person, right? So that's kind of what it started as. But, I mean, as time went on, you know, I learned all of these different things of what works, what doesn't work. I mean, there was a lot of trial and error, dude. I mean, and my good friend, I remember we were out at 3 a.m. probably cleaning a gas station, and his family owned a large pool company. And I'm like, how did you guys get to where you are? And he was like, dude, my dad had to eat shit for years to get to where he is. If you want to get anywhere, you're going to have to eat shit too. And I don't know why that stuck with me forever, but it has. Hopefully I'm allowed to cuss on here.
No, it's like
after the fact, now you're good, dude.
Just beep it.
Yeah, it's like very much embrace the suck. You know, like because I feel like people think going into business is like very glamorous, and it's like it really is not. It will chew you out.
Oh yeah,
pretty bad.
I think we hear a lot of things of like, oh yeah, you know, everybody's made for this. Sometimes you'll hear that, and then sometimes you'll hear like, oh yeah, you have to have this kind of thing. It's like, dude, how do you even know if you don't try, right? And I think the fact is that you're going to start a business, you're going to get put through hell, and you're either just going to quit or you're just going to keep going. There's no like way around it, right? Like, it's either going to be really hard or it's going to be really easy. The easiest way to go would be to buy a business that's already running, right? Like, there's already systems in place, there's already processes. But if you're going to start a business from scratch, dude, you get ready to be put through the ringer.
Let's actually go there. Let's start at the beginning and tell us kind of what did year one look like, because you've built out a multi-truck night shift commercial operation, servicing hospitals, major retailers. So how did year one look like for you?
Gross 47,000 in revenue.
Yeah. Baller.
It's not zero, so
it's not zero.
It ain't negative.
A lot of it was probably from friends. You know, dude, again, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about branding or marketing. I hired a friend of mine. I guaranteed him an $800 paycheck a week off of the life insurance money I'd gotten from my father passing away. That went extremely quickly, and my ex had some money in it too. You know, year one, horrible name for the company. Grossed $47,000, went completely broke paying my buddy because I didn't know anything. He knew how to clean carpet, so I was like, oh, this will be a good fit. Like, he'll be able to teach me how to do this. And I think I learned a lot. Doing whatever trade you are going to get into is very easy, right? Like, it's very easy to hire somebody to clean carpets or pressure wash or even HVAC or plumbing, like whatever. Like, I hate to say it, but a dime a dozen, right? Like, you can find plumbers everywhere. Yeah. Running a business is very hard, and there's a lot of different things that go into it. So compared from year one to now is a completely different story. I mean,
did you start out thinking like, hey, this is like a side business, or did you feel like, hey, this is, you know, year one, I got my teeth kicked in, but it is a scalable thing? Or were you like, this is a bit of a side hustle?
No, dude. I mean, it was never a side hustle. I didn't have any kind of plan B, right? Like, I had a goal of $1,000 a day. That was my goal. I wasn't worried about the future. I had a baby on the way. I had all these things going on in my life. The only thing I cared about was I had to make $1,000 a day for me to be successful at that time of where my life was in order to get by. And I thought that was good. So that was the only thing I was worried about. I never thought that we would be a 7-figure company. I never thought that, you know, we would have the 8,000 square foot warehouse and all the trucks and the systems and processes and all the amazing clients. Like, it was never a thought. and now it's reality. So it's awesome.
You said your wife found that you were blowing $20,000 a month, right? Which, like, I know some people are like, how do you miss that? But like, I think the question I would have actually is, because I know the importance that family has played for the business, so to speak. But I think there's a lot of people out there too, and obviously we work with a lot of people in medicine, and they bring in relatives and whatnot who are just not right for the business. Yep. And then, so what would you say for you made it work having family be part of the business?
Ooh, my wife's a different breed. I mean, and that's it, to be honest with you.
In what way?
She's amazing. She has a sales background, so she had a sales job before she started working with me. And just to be clear, for anybody in my company, I'll always say they're working with me, not for me. Nobody works for me. They work with me. This is not a me thing. It's a team effort. And it's the same thing with my wife, right? Like, she had a great sales background. She was very detail-oriented. She was very smart. And she was way more organized than I am. Like, I'm chaos all the time, right? And she kind of brought me down. And so we balance each other out. So it works because I have the trust in her that she's going to do the best thing for our family, for the business, all of that stuff. And I have to let her stay in her lane. I can't get in her lane, right? And she doesn't get in mine. So if people want to bring their family into their businesses, you have to, it's just like a business partner. You have to trust that they're going to do the best thing for their role, period, and not get in their way. Now, if it starts causing a bunch of problems, you have to be able to approach that in a completely different manner than it is if it's just some random employee, right? Like, if it's somebody you don't know, there's a completely different relationship than having a family member inside of your company. But if it's, it's my wife, I'm not going to go in there and be like, hey, you're fired.
Now, do you have to, would you say you still treat it like it's an employee, though? Like, what do you mean by that? Like I said, for I see some businesses where it's just, they let this spouse or cousin or auntie kind of just run wild and there's no accountability.
Yeah, no. The thing is we hold each other accountable, and I have to let my guard down. I think the biggest thing for me is I want them, and by them I mean my entire team, to hold me accountable to the highest standard, right? Because I just have that expectation for them. I expect them to be doing the best that they can all of the time. And if I'm not doing the best that I can all of the time, they need to hold me accountable because I will hold them accountable. And we have those conversations pretty often, right? Like, hey, you're not doing this. Why isn't this getting done? But again, we have to treat those situations a little bit differently. Plus, it's also hard to separate, home life and work life, because if I'm at the office with my wife, it's a little bit hard to completely separate that when I go home.
It's always interesting kind of hearing different people on that, because we've had some guests and some people that we've talked to that they are also in business, like with their brothers, with their sisters, with their spouses, and you have like different philosophies. Yeah, we had one where it was brothers, and there is no like switch for them. It's like complete authenticity and transparency and accountability at all times, whether they're at the fucking wedding with somebody or whether they're at a bakery. It doesn't really matter. And then other folks, they with their spouse, every day is kind of like a business operation. It just happens to be that the business operation is their kid and their grocery shopping and like everything else. Yeah. And then they just take that mindset and apply it to a different situation, which is like their own business. So it's always interesting kind of hearing everyone else's dynamic on that.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, everybody has different roles and responsibilities. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest with you, if it weren't for who my wife is and how amazing she is, I don't think it would work. To be honest with you. I mean, dude, best mother I've ever seen in my life. Amazing mother, and it's just how she handles everything. She's great at sales. She's organized. So I hit the jackpot, dude, because I've tried it with other people, right? Like, I had a previous air conditioning and heating company with a partner that used to be a friend of mine. That didn't work out, right? Like, we ended up dissolving the company because of a bad partnership. I started my company with my ex. Didn't work out, right? Yeah. So the right person matters. Yep. Like, it definitely matters.
Well, she wasn't your ex when you started the company, right?
What's that?
She wasn't your ex when you started the company with her.
No,
yeah?
she was.
Oh, wow.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, wait.
Somebody like, what kind of?
You brought that on yourself.
We were
I can't believe that business I started with my ex.
We're divorced. 2 weeks later. Hey, I got this business idea.
I do want to be clear. The business had nothing to do with us separating, though. But.
So let's kind of dive into that, because I think there's a lot of business owners that they do drop shipping. Everything is online for the most part. Like, that's where a lot of things are kind of moving at times. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about, like, brick and mortar. So that carries like rent, it's utilities, it's just, just a litany of other things that most people actually don't deal with. How did that fixed overhead shape the way that you approach growth and like risk strategy early on?
Yeah. So, I mean, originally I was running my business out of my house, just like I think every other service business owner probably started.
Chucking a truck.
Chucking a truck or, out of their garage, however it was. We started in the house, went to a shop, and then we had the opportunity to go to a larger house. So we moved to a larger house with a big yard, tried that for a little bit. The biggest thing for me why we moved into a shop has nothing to do with business. It has to do with home life. It's really hard, again, to separate work and home. I was tired of my employees coming to knock on my door at dinner time because we operate at night, right? But as far as like the growth side of things, I mean, it really just boils down to knowing your numbers, looking at a profit and loss statement, right? Knowing what you can afford, what you can't afford. I mean, I have a great CPA and bookkeeper that I probably talk to 2 or 3 times on a weekly basis. And we're constantly going over budgets. We run a thing called a job cost analysis sheet. So we take our profit and loss. I always look at my P&L by percentage of income, and we'll run our bids based off of our historical data on the P&L. And then, we have to hit our target net profit. So, I mean, it's really simple. I mean, I guess it's really simple to me because this is all I know. You know what I mean? I don't really know anything about the drop shipping side of things, but as far as, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, but when did you actually make that shift?
Oh.
Like, at what point are you saying, all right, we're making enough, or we're starting to really do well, like, we need to actually start treating it this way? Because you didn't start that way, I'm guessing.
No. I started out of the house. You're probably not going to like this answer. It wasn't a thing of, I've never been the guy where it's like, okay, I'm making enough, let's do this. I've been the guy that's like, okay, I'm so over this situation, whatever that situation might be, I'm going to put my back against the wall and I'm going to figure it out, right? Like I just said, for me, it was, I had to get my business out of my home because it was starting to affect my home life, right? I probably wasn't making enough back then to afford the shop, but it was also opportunity cost, right? So, and from doing all of those things, I've learned so much. I love putting my back against the wall because every time I do, it always works out. And whenever you have to do something, you're always going to find a way to make it work, right? So, I mean, just 6 months ago, we went from a 3,200 square foot office and warehouse flex space into like an 8,000 square foot warehouse, I was super scared. My CPA, my bookkeeper, and they were like, hey, you're going to have to increase your sales a lot to be able to afford this and still hit that target net profit. I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. I always do, and I always will.
No, that's smart, though, right? Because, you're using your resources, right? It's not just you making a gut instinct. I mean, there's plenty of like, all right, I think we could do this, but then it sounds like you're still basing a decision off of some data, like some information. It's like, all right, like what can we do? What do we need to do? Versus some people that, you meet some people that are making 7-8 figures and they don't know their P&L. They don't know what they're spending. And it's like, oh shit, we're not actually making that much money. Yeah. So it is definitely important in using the right people. When you're factoring the numbers to make business decisions, I'm curious to know what it was like in the beginning and then where you're at now with regards to reinvesting back in. Because that's a conversation that me and Antonio have too. It's like, all right, how much do you take as the owner versus, all right, what a lot of companies do, we want to pour right back into the business to buy equipment or to grow it, and then the owners poor as hell, basically. So what was your approach then, and is it different now?
Well, back then, the business debit card was my debit card. I was making money to live, right? Like, again, it was a very immature business. I didn't know anything. I didn't know that I should be separating my expenses, right? Like, I was spending money through the business. But now I pay myself more than I want to be honest with you. My bookkeeper, I have to pay myself a reasonable salary based off of what we want or what we're making. But I love to put everything back into the business. Marketing, new equipment, new tools. I mean, everything. All of our guys have brand new equipment. We have brand new trucks. We have brand new machines because it's going to cost us way more down the road if we're not doing that stuff, right? Like, I don't want to be getting phone calls at 3-4 in the morning. Hey, this machine is broken. Like, we're done for the night. It's going to cost me way more money. So I like having brand new trucks, brand new machines. I mean, plus we get really good deals too. Like, I just bought 2 brand new Toyota Tundras. I come at both at 1% interest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's not bad.
It's also about like finding deals too. I don't know if that answered your question at all, but
no, it definitely did.
Sorry.
So I want to move over to community trust, right? So like in a local market, like in Vegas, people think it's a big city, and it is, but it's also very small at the same time. Reputation spreads pretty fast around here. How did you intentionally build trust within the community, and what mistakes did you learn from?
Oh, dude, I did what I said I was going to do. And it's like literally as simple as that. I will lose $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on a single job before I let somebody say that we're not a good company or we didn't do what we said we were going to do. And I have done that, right? Like, and that's why we've built such a good reputation. We do what we say we're going to do. We show up when we say we're going to show up. If we can't, like something happens, we're extremely communicative of it. Like people just need to know. Communication is like one of the most underrated things that is so important. You know, like we're here today, right? Imagine if I wasn't able to make it or something and I just didn't text you guys. You guys just sitting there.
Dude, that shit drives me off the fucking wall. Like it really, really does. Like I actually had a situation like that happen fairly recently. And it's just, to me, Dan and I, it's like when someone doesn't have like that basic common courtesy, like it's just being considerate. You're over communicating. And when that goes out the window, like I really look at someone way less.
Yeah, dude. Well, and
significantly less.
That's important in business, right? Yeah. And the other thing too is like I'm not looking to get rich quick at all. Like this has never been a get rich quick thing. I'm looking for long-term partnerships, and I care about the people that we do business with. I very rarely call them my clients. I call them my partners sometimes, but more often I call them my friends, right? Like I like doing business with people that we can be friends. Let's go golfing. Like, what are you into? I care about the people and I care about their jobs and how to make their lives easier. I think it's Zig Ziglar. What does he say? The fastest way to get everything you want in life is to help everybody else get what they want first, right? So like, how do I help my clients make their lives easier? So we just built a really good reputation. I mean, everybody that works in the company loves being there. It's just hard, dude.
I love it, man. When we're looking at kind of the community, staying on the community side of things, how do you keep a pulse on what's happening in a market or like in a city? Making sure that if there's new renovations, there's new build outs or something going on in the city, just so you are abreast to where maybe your business needs to be. Like how do you keep a grasp on what's happening?
Yeah, so we're a part of a bunch of networking associations. Again, commercial service. So we're part of like a networking association called BOMA, Building Owners Management Association. They have monthly luncheons. They have all these types of different events where we can sponsor them. So we're constantly in front of these managers' faces. They'll have speakers come in. Sometimes it's like the mayor or city officials. So we're constantly hearing about that stuff on what's going on in the sector of what we're doing business with, right? Plus, it's great networking opportunities, but we're always kind of on top of everything, like with the Parks and Rec bill that's going on right now. I don't know if you know anything about that, but there's like a huge bill waiting to get passed for the funding for the Parks and Recreation. Hopefully it does get passed, because if not, all of our parks and... So to answer your question,
but that's really good. It's like getting involved where you're seeing the different players in the same industry, but then also hearing what's also happening legislatively.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know what's going on in your clients' lives, right? And everything that's going to affect your entire ecosystem, right? Like, so for example, let me try and give you an analogy here. If you're a Ford mechanic and there's a massive recall on all these trucks and you know nothing about it, it's probably going to be pretty hard for you to go to work the next day when you have all these trucks coming in, you know nothing about it, right? So same thing in the service industry. If there's some kind of issues, at least for us, with like the EPA or there could be CAMs. I don't know if you guys know what CAMs are, common area maintenance fees, inside of like some kind of change inside of any kind of industrial complexes or anything like that. If something's changing, then we need to know about it so we can try to adjust accordingly and make sure that we're being able to serve our clients correctly. I mean, it's super important that you know this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it could be detrimental.
Yeah, it happens a lot, like in healthcare too, like new like HIPAA compliance and just new regulations, insurance.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, like there's both sides, right? You have the stuff that's related to the regulatory aspect, and then you have the stuff related directly to the people that you're actually treating or working with. And I'm just like kind of chuckling inside because you're describing sounds like a very basic approach. It's like, all right, we're a local business, so let's get out and hang out with the locals and whatnot. But then I find a lot of local businesses don't do any of that, right? They're just like, you get the business owners are like, let's just spend our time and money on Facebook ads and Google ads. And then I'm like, all right, what are you doing out in the public and whatnot? Like, what are you talking about?
I think it depends on your demographic. As far as like a residential service company, and again, I can only speak for
just like businesses in general,
but
yeah.
Business in general, it depends on who you're serving. Like I spend $0 on ads, none. Like I've never ran a Google ad. I couldn't even tell you how to do it. I don't do any Facebook ads. My only motto is the more hands I shake, the more money I'm going to make. And I like building real relationships with people that are going to last a lifetime, right? And let's give an example. Do you have a friend that owns a service company besides me?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of service company?
I have a commercial and residential house cleaning. I got construction, like remodels.
Okay.
Like that.
Perfect. If you were looking to like remodel your house, who would you call?
I'd call my buddy.
Okay. Why would you call him?
Well, with that particular one, I know actually how he runs his business, and I've seen.
I know who you're talking about. By the way.
Yeah. So I know exactly how he runs his business. I coached him. I know everything, and so I would go there because I know they actually do good work.
Okay, so you know him, you like him, you trust him. Like you wouldn't even think about calling anybody else, right? So like my goal inside of my business is to never try and sell my business. It's to create really strong relationships with my ideal clientele because it would be impossible for them to not call me when they need me, right? Like he just said, if I need my house remodeled, this is who I'm going to call, right? Well, if somebody needs pressure washing, that they know that we're going to provide a good service, do a great job, we're going to show up when we say we're going to show up, why would they call anybody else? Right?
Got me. Yeah. I mean, that's you're making a point. Like, it seems so basic, but then again, they'll say, well, I'm going to spend $10,000 a month on running ads, but I won't spend 2 hours a week networking or going to these kind of events. And that's why it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're missing a big opportunity. Like you said, you're taking all that money that you would spend on marketing. And that's one of the biggest gripes in business, right? How much are we spending on marketing? And then, do I need a marketing team? And you're looking at like, I don't have any of that, and I'm building out this robust business just by actually building relationships where people can learn to actually trust me.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, we've tried things. We've hired business development representatives, a bunch of different things. We do have a marketing budget, but a lot of it goes towards like those associations, right? We'll sponsor golf tournaments, we'll set up booths. And again, that's what fits my business, right? So if somebody that's watching this has a service company, you got to pay attention to what is going to serve your business the best and how are you going to get in front of the decision makers the easiest. And I mean, in my personal opinion, Facebook ads is not a thing for me. That's just my opinion, though.
Kind of moving over to the sales side. One thing you wrote down on an intake that we did was your sales strategy works. Break it down. What do you feel like are most service businesses? What are those owners doing wrong that they can learn from you from?
They're trying to sell. I mean, like
that's to someone that's listening and they're like, okay, tell me more. What's that?
I know. I'm sorry. They're too salesy. They're too pushy. Right. So for an example, I think in today's culture, everybody hates getting sold on something. Right? Like, that old, oh man, we're going to go to the car dealership. The car sales guy, he's going to come up. He's going to be super pushy. Like, that's so gone. Right? And so as far as our sales process, again, we're not trying to sell anything from the start. We're just trying to build a relationship with somebody. That's it. Because when they need our service, they're going to call us. So it's kind of like some kind of reverse psychology, but we're just trying to build a relationship with people. We have a strong approach about caring about who they are, what they're doing, what their role entails, how can we make their life easier, and asking a lot of questions about their role in their business, right? So for example, like one of the things that we implemented into our company was every time we're on site doing a commercial power washing, we're doing a full property inspection too, right? Because they're too busy to be able to get out on site every day, right? But that didn't come just out of like, oh, this is an idea. It came from asking a lot of questions and paying attention to people. Nobody wants to get sold on anything, right? Like we were having this conversation before this podcast even started. Right? Like it's always a sales pitch. So we try not to pitch anybody. We just want to build the relationship with the people. And I show a lot of people how to do that is kind of what you were talking about.
Would you, and it doesn't sound like, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Would you say there's any difference speaking to a business owner or maybe a high-end executive who runs a casino versus mom and pop?
As far as what?
Just, the overall sales process. Do you approach it the same? Or would you say, all right, this is a difference between I'm talking to maybe, Antonio to do some work around his property versus a casino?
Yeah, it would be a different process. Again, and that's not the only way. Like we do cold calls, we do cold emails. But yeah, if I'm trying to reach out to let's take like a restaurant business owner for an example, is that something like you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I would use LinkedIn, to be honest with you. I don't know. Are you guys on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
So
I'm like the worst at it.
He's finding out that it's not a bad platform. So he's getting
I am
definitely
that platform single-handedly changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've gotten so much business from LinkedIn. So if you're not using it, you should. Use it. Using it correctly too is super important. But like
Shut up, Dan. Dan's like secretly winning.
Dude, I got a presentation I'll send to you, and it like breaks down everything on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But as far as the platform goes, like utilizing it correctly, and we've tried different things. I mean, thousands and thousands of messages, of scripted messages and sales pitches, and the biggest thing that I found is just trying to resonate with another human. It's like social media, but it's for business, right? Yeah. And so if you're just constantly, how many messages do you get on LinkedIn that it's like, I can help your business do this?
More than,
Do you pay attention to any of them?
No, of course
not.
Right,
exactly, right? So whenever we're using like LinkedIn for an example, and I'm trying to reach out to a restaurant business owner, number one, if I'm going to try and get business from a restaurant, I want to become a customer of theirs first. So perfect example, I went to a restaurant, I Googled who owned the business, I went on LinkedIn, looked him up. I wonder who owns this. Went back to LinkedIn or on Google, went back to LinkedIn, added them, sent them a message. Hey, I'm sitting at your restaurant eating dinner right now. Your food is like amazing. I love it. Would love to partner with you. This is what I own. I sent them a little business portfolio, and there you go. Like, hey, I'm a customer of yours. I love what you're doing. I want to partner with you. So there's tons of different approaches, right? Like through the associations, you're going to have to build the relationship. Yeah. It's going to be a longer approach. Through LinkedIn, it's going to be quick, and you'd want to try and find a justified reason of trying to reach out to them, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like you don't want to just be, hey, I can help your business.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let me, pay me money. It's like, all right, what? I don't even know you.
Yeah, I can keep your business clean, right?
Yeah.
Like I can keep your location clean. It just doesn't work anymore. Nobody wants to be sold on anything.
No.
Staying on that kind of sold subject, especially when you're doing like estimates or you're talking to like whether a homeowner or you're talking to, it's B2B. How do you, because I see this a lot in home services at times, that winning contracts without racing to the bottom in terms of price.
Yeah.
Like undercutting, just reducing. What's your kind of mentality around that?
Education. In my area, in my industry, I think the biggest thing is education. A lot of people will just look at proposals and they're just looking at the bottom line. They're just looking at the number. And so understanding the difference, it's not apples to apples. It's usually apples to like a car, right? Completely different. So we try to heavily focus on educating our clients before we even get to that RFP process, right? So we'll educate them on how our service works, what's included in it. We'll typically do a lunch and learn. I don't know if you guys know anything about lunch and learns, but
love them.
Yeah. We'll cater food to their entire office and basically educate their entire office on how our service works, why we are different. Because then by the time we go through that RFP process, they're already going to know what we're providing versus what the other company is providing. So we don't have to really deal with that race to the bottom because, our price is our price. We run those job cost analysis sheets that we talked about. We have a target net profit. We're a for-profit business, right? Like we have to make money to stay in business. And, if you want the best, then...
Yeah, that's a fair point because and that's what I want to actually maybe have a follow-up question on with you is that you'll get some... And obviously, I think for me, I would just say don't work with them. But you do get some other businesses who want to almost get people bidding against each other, right, to the lowest part.
Yeah.
At what point, how do you flip that around? Or how do you just stand on your values and your standards as, like, this is where we're at and this is what you're getting?
Well, I think it depends. And that's the real answer, right? Like, it's going to be situational, right? Like, if somebody comes to me and they're like, hey, here's 100 locations, but you have to drop your price a little bit. I'm going to drop my price a little bit. right? Like at some point it will become quantity and it will make sense, right? Because we're able to make a certain net profit on that one account, whatever it might be.
That's pretty normal.
But
It's pretty natural.
But our values are our values.
Or like,
you know what I mean? Like,
Antonio said he'll do for 50. You know, you're charging 70. You know, like, do you say, all right, I'll, or like this,
fuck Antonio.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? No, like that happens. It's like, all right, like I'm not gonna lower my price because of X, Y, and Z versus, all right, let me just meet the bid. And
again, it's situational, right? Like if I can do it for $50 and earn a new client and I will still be profitable, sure, yeah, I might drop my price, but I'm not gonna race to the bottom. Right? Like if I can, let's say I have a target net profit of 25%, right? And, you know, me going down to his price is going to be at 15%, but I have a massive opportunity with this client that might have, you know, 50 other properties and I could really impress him on this one. Yeah, of course I'm going to drop my price and still make money doing it.
Okay.
You know? But if it ends at that, I've now learned my lesson.
Yeah.
With that specific client, at least,
right?
Yeah. Because again, our goal is the least amount of clients with the largest portfolio, right? Like we don't have this massive list of clients that we serve. We have a smaller list of clients with a massive amount of properties. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
picking on that, does that give you any concern? Because I know, like I'm listening and I'm like, ooh, what if one of those clients drops you? Like that is like sounds like a risk. Would you agree, or like what's the thought process there?
You know, I used to be afraid. I was at one point I was afraid because my eggs were in too many eggs were in one basket, right? Like one of my clients were over 50% of our portfolio that we served.
Yeah.
And thankfully I realized it and we have outgrown that. So now, no, I'm not concerned. Because even if we lost one large client, we'd be okay. Yeah. I did lose large clients last year, right? Like it happens. We overbid some projects, but you know they're coming back to us this year. So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I see that a lot in healthcare where it's, you know, you have one insurance that's paying primo, so it's let's get all the patients that have that, and then hey, by the way, the insurance just dropped 50% of what they're going to pay you, and then like, oh shit, like now what are we going to do? Because they did put everything in one basket. Be like, all right, we got like, we're not all in one, but we got like enough.
Yeah, I mean, you got to diversify in some kind of sense, right? Like, I mean, again, in the beginning, it was full-fledged into one thing, focus on this one thing as hard as you can, and then once you kind of get a little bit of stability and you could breathe, then kind of start diversifying. At least that's how it was for us.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. I want to move over to operations. I was... Because yours is actually a very interesting business in the sense that most of the time it's actually run at night, you know, and so there's night shift, there's multiple trucks. How do you maintain standards even, you know, when you're not there?
This has been the hardest thing that I have dealt with over the past 3 years, probably. Numerous people trying to hire them. I mean,
but like poach your people?
No. Just trying to make sure that, you know, our team is being held accountable, the job's being done correctly, you know, because the problem with the way that our business is structured and how everything operates, my office staff operates during the day, right? And, you know, they start 7, 8 a.m. Our crews show up to our shop at 8 p.m. They're on a job site by 9 p.m. until they're done. Sometimes it's 4 a.m., sometimes it's 6 a.m., sometimes it's 9 a.m., you know, depending on how busy we are. They'll work longer shifts. But closing that gap has been one of the hardest things that we have dealt with inside of the company. It took me years to figure out. Unfortunately, we had to go through a few people to kind of learn what worked and what didn't work. Because of the schedule, you know, it's kind of a flex schedule. Sometimes you have to work during the day, sometimes you have to work during the night, and it's hard for people to not have that stability. So I'm super thankful that I have our operations manager now. We actually promoted him. He started as my videographer. You've actually probably met him before. I want to say he was at my shop that one day. But after doing videos for me, like he shot all our podcasts and stuff and shot, and then he started going and filming job sites. And he was like, hey, you know, I already know what this entails. I want to come work for the company full time. And I was like, I don't know. And, you know, Sierra, my wife, and Alexis, our office manager, were like, yes. So we brought him on as a tech, and he's just been amazing, phenomenal. And so now he's our operations manager, and he understands what it takes to be able to. Sometimes he has to work during the day. Sometimes he has to work during the night. Sometimes he has to work all night and then come work most of the day during the day. So it's very hard. So number one, finding the right person, because not everybody can do that. Number two is putting the right systems in place. We use Connect Team. It's kind of like Slack. Just again, communication. Everybody's so openly communicative with each other. We're so lucky.
That's always interesting when, because it sounds like when he first approached you about taking that job, your knee-jerk reaction was like, I don't know, bro, like it's probably not you, and then it eventually happened. Talk about kind of both sides of that coin, where like this was the right person, I want to get them on my team, and then they fizzle and burn out, or they get fucked up, or someone where you're kind of reluctant initially, and you're like, I don't know, and then they come on board because they were just like, no, dude, I really want to do this, and they end up being a stud.
Yeah. Well, we tried hiring people, like, let's just take the operations management position. I spent like $5,000 to go through what's it called? When they test like their emotions and all that stuff, a personality trait test or whatever.
It's a behavioral assessment.
Yeah, there you go.
There's all types of different ones.
So anyways, I spent $5,000 with this company to do like a behavioral assessment, and then like they ran our ads and stuff. We found this person. I'm like, oh man, this guy like has the
drive,
experience, like the drive, and it was just like it didn't work out at all, like at all, right? Because he didn't understand the actual behind the scenes stuff, but he knew how to manage other companies, which is great. As far as LJ in specific, I didn't want to bring him on because we had like a closer relationship than just business, right? Like he was a friend and I didn't want to ruin that relationship. And before I hired him, I sat him down. I was like, look, you can come work here, but I'm reluctant to do this because I don't want it to affect our relationship. And he goes, look, even if you fire me, even if everything goes completely sideways, business is business. I will never hate you for this. Like, it is what it is. And I'm like, if you can stick to that, then great. Like, awesome. Like, let's give it a try. And it's so funny. The things that you look at and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work. Phenomenal. And I mean, just like you said, the guy that I thought that was going to be a stud just
didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like
at all.
I think, that's a really good story. And I also think it really speaks to, really good company culture, right? Which is not just the way we act, but like the mentality we have. So being able to look at talent, so to speak, of, all right, you're a videographer. Some people would say, what the hell do you know? Just because you've been on some job sites doesn't mean you're expert, versus, yeah, you realizing just for a relationship aspect, but then your wife's like, nah, he's got the talent and the person. And that, so when we're talking about, the culture of a company outside of looking for talent everywhere, and you had a funny story about today, but I think part of it too is also what happens. Like, I think the best representation sometimes of a company culture is, what do people say about the company that you're at, right? Like, if you had an employee leave you, what would they say about you guys? Like, pretty damn good stuff, most likely. Yeah. But then you have other companies where it's like, what the hell's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, almost every person that has worked with us would have good things to say about our company after they left, unless it was like a super bad, like, hey, you messed up, we're firing you kind of deal, and it ended bad. But I mean, even the business development representative that we had recently didn't work out. I was on the phone with her today, right? And she consistently tells people like, oh yeah, they're a great company to work for. They're awesome. Like, I love them. And that's what 99% of the people are going to say about us. But yeah, we get reached out to sometimes by our competitors and old employees. And they're like, hey, we don't trust them. We want to send you the work. It's happened. I can't tell you how many times. But it says a lot, right? Our company culture is super important. We're a family. Right? Like, we have each other's backs. They know that I have an open door policy. If there's anything going on in their personal lives, business life, whatever it is, come talk to me. I'll help you out. I'll find a way for you to get out of it. Like, whether it's money or you're in a bad situation, like, you don't have to go through it alone. Like, I want to be there to help you.
Let's unpack that a little bit, because I think that's really interesting. You mentioned that someone worked with you. They're working someplace else. That someplace else is maybe bidding or looking at a job that could go to either yourself or to them. And then they're saying like, I don't know if I trust them. Let me send it over to you. Is that kind of...
No. Not the same industry.
Oh, okay.
Not the same industry. So they'll get out of like pressure washing and go to, pest control or landscape or something, or, fire suppression, whatever it might be. And we're all dealing with the same clients, right? And they might ask them for, hey, do you know who does this? They won't want to send it to the company that they worked with, or they'd rather send it to us.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make a little bit more sense?
Yeah.
That's very underrated though, right? Because then a lot of business owners, they don't think, all right, what's the trickle down effect? Just they have the bad ending to the relationship, so to speak. If you get out, you're fired, and then they don't think about, all right, what happens after that? Who's going online, talking about the company now, saying this guy's a jerk off, don't work there, or then now they're calling potentially other employees, hey, I found another job that's better than working for this jerk off, come with me.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen that happen, and I got a buddy of mine who's like, anytime he lets somebody go, like, let me try to find you another job.
Yeah.
Like, this really isn't working, but let me see if one of my fellow people in the industry, if they need help. I'm like, this is different, but I appreciate that approach.
I mean, I don't know how it is for you guys. I haven't had to run a job ad at all lately.
Yeah.
It's just all referrals.
That's the way it should, but I mean, that's the rarity. Most companies, they're not doing that, right? They're like, finding help is tough, right? So we're going on Indeed. Healthcare is obviously different, but people are like, I can't find anybody to work. I'm like, maybe that says something about your company.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're very lucky. We're very blessed. I'm very thankful for everything that has come into my life, the people that have come into my life and my business. But dude, our culture is just so unmatched. Period. Yeah. Nobody's willing to go as far as I'm willing to go for our guys. Like, dude.
I challenge you. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's true. I mean, that is true. Like I said, we talk about it all the time. Like, culture is very underrated. It's not this foo-foo thing. It like really does have, understanding what it actually means, versus, I got you guys free pizza and shit like that. It's like, no, this is actually what it represents. But they don't see the stuff you were talking about at the beginning of the episode, the profit and loss. That stuff doesn't show up on the profit and loss statement. No. So it's hard for those people that are very data-driven, right, which obviously tends to show up in business, not personal. It's like, it is. Like, it's my livelihood. But that stuff doesn't show up like, here's how much you lost because your employee retention sucks, or here's how much you gained by having employees for 5, 10, 15 years. That stuff never shows up, so it's hard for people to really extrapolate what is the actual cost there, so then they don't put the time into building it, because that's one of the things, it takes time, right? It's not like you just start day one like, all right, we got a great culture. It takes a lot of consistent, diligent work while you're building out the foundations of a business to say, all right, we got to work on this other somewhat intangible aspect too that's going to really pay off in the long term.
I mean, everything's trial and error, dude. I was never perfect, right? I'm still not perfect. I mean, I'm sure you guys are the same. It was never perfect. Maybe you guys, are still struggling with that, or maybe you're not. I don't know. But, at the end of the day, it's just, who are you as a person? How are you showing up for your people? And what more can you do for them?
Yeah.
It's an interesting exposure point too, when people are adding personnel to their company, where they are bringing people on where they're like, this could be a really good fit. And then it's just a revolving door around a particular role. Have you ever had a situation like that where it actually more exposed, oh, I'm not maybe onboarding them correctly for the role, or I don't have enough maybe systems in place for this role, where they're actually a really good fit, but it's like that saying, an A player going into a C situation forces them to go down to that C situation.
Yeah. I think all of that was my fault, though. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't ready. I didn't build out the training systems. You know what I mean? So we have gone through people, but everything was my fault. I was not prepared. I did not have the correct training, the correct systems in place. We have hired people who I still to this day think could have been a great asset to the company. But I just wasn't prepared enough, and right. I didn't know enough at the time of when we hired them of what kind of training was needed, what the expectations were, and all of these things. Again, it's the entrepreneurial way, building the plane as you're flying it, right?
Yeah.
But again, in my opinion, I had to go through all of that stuff to be able to learn what was needed. So now we have full onboarding platforms, training systems, all that stuff, and I learned, train them as much as you possibly can from the get-go.
It's just you saying that, in terms of learning, and, there's a ton of different ways of learning. You read it through books, you can go through courses, seminars. The three of us actually met through a mastermind.
Yeah.
And we all come from the same mastermind. And I'm curious, for you, is that how was being in that room changed how you think, especially as it relates to masterminds in general and just being in groups?
Oh, man. Well...
Yeah, we were in it was a fun one. It was really interesting.
It was good.
I don't regret it one bit. I really...
Neither do I.
Yeah, I really liked
it opened my eyes to a lot.
Yeah.
I'll say that. But it changed the entire trajectory of my life in a positive way, right? Like started podcasting, created a lot of great relationships from it. It was the most amount of money I'd ever swiped my credit card for. Like that was super scary. I don't know about you guys, but that was a lot for me back then, you know? It was fantastic. I created a lot of great relationships. I think masterminds and going to events and being a part of these groups are important. You just have to be able to like weave out like the real ones and the fake ones, because there are real people out there that care and want to help and show up, you know, like I see you speaking all the time, or both you guys, and you know, even this, right? Like you guys care. You want to be able to provide some kind of information and knowledge and entertainment to people, and that's really important. But you know,
yeah, there were some charlatans that like
dude.
It helped me kind of look at. That's a really good point of like who's real, who's not, because there's been like indictments on certain people. Like it was very, very interesting. So it really opened up my eyes to a lot of interesting stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just you start seeing some people that are getting into it and they're very disingenuous, and it's you don't always see that on the onset, right? So it's just like, they're going to help you do this, or it's a lot of motivation, and it's like, here's what you can build out of it, and then you kind of see it at the end. It's like, damn it, dude, like that wasn't the best. But to your point, you end up you take kind of looking at like everything happens for a reason. Right? It's like, all right, what positives did I gain out of this? What relationships did I build?
Yeah. You said that it changed your life positively, like changed your. What's one belief that you had before joining a mastermind group that now has been shattered because you learned some stuff from that group?
That nobody would listen to me. Like I was like, who am I to like get on social media and talk?
Oh yeah.
You know? And I still don't feel like I talk very much on like social media. I'm more of in like our private Facebook groups kind of stuff. But dude, I mean, I make well into the 6 figures a year from like the whole consulting thing by joining these the mastermind, which got me into podcasting, which I shot a podcast with a guy who gave me the belief system that I could do it. And then I started doing it and it worked and it got better. And then like now we're hosting our own event. We have like 85 humans registered like to come to this event in just a couple weeks. So, you know, if you believe it, if somebody can do something, like I could do it too, you know?
Dude, tell us about your event. What's the one that's coming up in a couple of weeks, and where can someone go if they want to jump in and get to be in that room with you? Yeah,
so it's called Commercial Pressure Washing Contractors Live, cpwlive.com. It's not just for pressure washing. The idea behind the name was I have a Facebook group called Commercial Pressure Washing Contractors, because there's nothing that existed for just that sector. But the event is really to take home service business owners that are stuck in this residential. They don't know how much money that they're going to be able to produce the next year, you know, to help them get into the commercial side of things, more recurring revenue, you know, just more predictable, more reliable, all that kind of stuff. It's February 26th and 27th at the Sunset Station Hotel and Casino. The room block is completely sold out. There's, I think, 15 tickets left as of when I left the office. Right now. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to do this, man. It's been like, it's just one of those things, you know, you have this idea in your head. It's a huge risk, you know. I don't know if you guys have ever rented a ballroom and food and beverage minimums. Like, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Massive risk, you know. And we were, again, $0 on ads. Everything was organic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too. It's just, you got, what is it, 85 people, I think, signed up. Nothing spent, just from relationship building.
Yeah. Just,
right, I said it's the proof.
I mean, content, you know, content, a lot of recording on content, doing podcasts, you know, and again, just building kind of that personal brand inside of our industry. I guess a lot of people know who I am. I just don't think that way, you know?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Love it. Rob, this was phenomenal. You know, and we want to throw it out to you guys as well. I mean, you just talked about an event you're putting on, building out a community, helping people bring some support. You know, we're building out, me and Antonio building our membership for healthcare business owners. Same goal in mind, just bring value, help people that are maybe kind of stuck or stagnant or struggling, find ways to help them grow. And, you know, like I said, you're the proofs in the pudding, so to speak. It's like when you deliver value, you know, that's what it's all about. But really appreciate you being on the show, dude. This was really great. A lot of amazing golden nuggets we can get from this for sure.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.